Phil the Thrill is exploring the forest with a friend when they encounter something strange in the water that looks really out of place.
You see that?
What?
What is that?
Discarded at the end of a small stone trail is a black box tightly bound by rope with a single padlock hanging over one end. Across from the padlock is a note written for whoever finds it.
Just beat the heck out of it, maybe it will open.
Yo, dude, what is this?
Let me see.
It's like a note or something.
Oh, what the heck?
With sadness, I'm writing this letter because I can no longer take care of her. I thought this could be the best way to give her a new life.
They take the mystery box all the way back to their house where they have the tools needed to pick the lock. Whatever's inside has been silent the entire time and they fear the worst as they pop the lid.
Pull it off, let's see what's in here. What the?
Whoa.
There's a baby in here?
Inside is not a dog like they were thinking. Apparently whoever left the note was the parent.
After that, I immediately called the police.
I have trouble believing she's actually left her out in the forest. The youngster is clean and not underweight. Her clothes aren't dirty and her pacifier is still in her mouth despite getting rattled around on the way back. Phil the Thrill goes on to claim he called the police immediately. According to him, they came out and told him not to film anymore.
The police, and they were able to get the baby reunited with her parents. The police told me not to record the phone call. That's why I'm not going to post any of the footage on YouTube.
It doesn't make sense for him to post all of this other stuff, but not the one thing that would have convinced me. I think a more likely reason for the lack of a phone call is because faking a police report can get you in serious trouble. Then again, it wouldn't be that hard to pretend to talk to the police on his phone if you really wanted to fake it. Now, I'm not so sure if it's real or fake, and I guess that's why this creepy video's gotten well over 6 million views. Bryce Newbold describes this Ohio hiking experience through the Shawnee State Forest as a very rough trip, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why. It's a hot summer's day and he has many miles ahead. By 4 miles, he is drenched and walks about half a mile to drink from the river. His next source of water won't be until nightfall, and by then he will have walked 12 miles. By the second day, he is feeling unusually miserable and drained and decides to take a shorter route.
I am absolutely covered in either little tiny ticks or chiggers. They're probably chiggers. They are all over me right now. I tried washing them off, but I mean, I'm gonna have to go through and pick them off one by one, it looks like.
He's looking pretty pale by the end of the day, even though he's been getting plenty of sun. That's because poor Bryce has been getting his legs chewed off by tiny ticks that won't give up, and by the end of the day it's looking pretty bad.
And I have a million bites from those little chiggers last night. You can see they're still on there.
By the time he gets back home, his legs and feet are covered in marks. I'm not a doctor, but I definitely would be going to one soon if I were him. That looks really bad, and I think it's probably time for a test or two to make sure you didn't get anything from them. I really hope he's okay and that nothing like this ever happens to him again. A group of friends see a stranger leave the woods in a hurry. They think it's odd and make a video.
Andy caught someone coming out of the tunnel. Pretty creepy, pretty scary. So.
Oh bro, what's that smell?
Oh, it's rank.
Can you smell that?
Guys, there's literally flies all over the place.
Oh bro, can you smell that? That stinks, bro.
Oh, nasty, man.
In the tunnel, they find a white sheet covered in red with a very distinct human outline underneath, and this is their reaction.
That stinks. Man, that was grim. Hey, we need to ring the police.
Crazy as anything.
Having this happen would be really scary.
We need to ring the police.
What?
We need to ring the police.
Have you got a phone?
No, I've not got a phone. Have you got one? Hey, can I have police, please?
One minute you're hanging out with your friends, and the next moment you're all suspects.
Yeah, I've just been exploring with mate, and we've just found a body.
A YouTube channel called DYP Official finds some kind of abandoned facility way out of the woods. One climbs to the top of a big blue container and sticks their head over the end, which is scary for reasons I'll get back to soon enough. Two other large vats grab their attention.
Found a whole thing of sulfuric acid in the woods. Sulfuric acid. Yo, please stop, bro, please. Bro.
He would have kept turning the release valve had they both not shouted at him to stop. I don't know if it was full, but if so, he would have been in deep trouble and might not have survived an acid spray. In the shed, they find a gas mask and large science beakers used to hold chemicals. One of the vials is still full, so they take it outside for a better look until their friend grabs it from them.
Boom!
Luckily for them, it doesn't break. Breathing in any unknown chemical, whether indoors or outdoors, could end up with them on the floor. Inside of an abandoned building, they find a label that got me curious. I googled what polyseed inoculum is, and the answer sheds light on what this facility really is. Basically, this is used to break down biological waste. They've been playing around in a biological waste treatment center the whole time, touching things that ordinarily require a full biohazard suit to handle. Whatever chemicals they were handling probably were not safe, and the air quality can't be much better. The type of place that could really mess you up after maybe a few visits. In other words, certainly not a place where you'd ever want to stick your face over an old chemical vat and take a big whiff. Linfamous TV goes ghost hunting in the woods of Long Island, and they say this place is truly haunted. They are expecting the ghost sighting of a lifetime, and what they've caught on camera does not let them down.
Yeah. Oh, what the f was that?
They aren't sure what they heard, and so they press forward despite feeling scared early on. The deeper they go, the more haunted things start to look and feel.
Over here, it looks like it's something from a horror movie.
Right. These woods right here are really spooky.
Something is wrong with this part of the woods. They can feel it, but being ghost hunters means doing creepy stuff all the time, and so they go down this path against better judgment.
Got a cold spot.
Completely blocking out the sky.
I thought it was her friend, but it's not. At 5 minutes and 58 seconds, Lynn's friend is to the right. He is still to the right at 6 minutes when Lynn looks left and then up at the trees. When she brings the camera down, a ghost is there. There is a ghost on the left. Her friend, meanwhile, is still standing to her opposite side as they try to consult her GPS system and get weird interference.
Wearing
Well, on the map, what does it take us to? Does it look like it ends?
I'm sure. Like in Huntington or something. like how to say. What?
Their GPS loudly messes up and takes them in a wide loop for almost 3 hours before it straightens out. Weird how their equipment does this the same minute they have this paranormal encounter. Oh, and one last thing. Lynn's friend is wearing a baseball hat. This ghost looking straight at them does not. Therefore, I have a strange feeling that this ghost sighting video could be real. The shadow hunters from Brazil go exploring the woods for an abandoned house haunted by an angry poltergeist. It's a long walk through darkness to find it, but when they do, they go sprinting up to its yellow walls to try and catch the poltergeist by surprise.
Vai por aí, vai por aí. Vixe. Tem alguém aí?
They walk around the perimeter of the poltergeist house and find something else that leaves him extremely freaked out and regretting their decision to come here at night.
Tem nada aí não, mano. Tem alguém aí? Tem vela aqui também. Nossa, mano do céu.
On the ground are more candles and a sheet that was something strangely shaped underneath of it. Candles surround the object on all sides and give me a bad feeling that something has gone really wrong here. Whatever's been covered with a sheet is not moving and shows no signs of life. They go inside for a closer look but do not dare lift up the sheet and see what's inside. What do you think was under there? If the legends were true about this poltergeist being a summoner, then I think we all know the answer. They might have set this all up for a video, but I don't think so. He doesn't waste any time ending this video and calling the police. Sidestep Adventures is surprised to actually find what he's been looking for out in the Georgia woods.
You stepped on it? Oh wow. There it is.
Another person's grave. They carefully reassemble it and respectfully read her name out loud.
Yep, there it is. Sacred to the memory of Mrs. Jane. And died November 3rd, 1843.
Under the heavy marker, they find a crushed bouquet of flowers left by a loved one. The petals are in excellent condition and largely retain their color. Finding fresh flowers under a more than 100-year-old grave is already weird enough, but then Sidestep Adventures reads more and realizes who this Mrs. Jane is to him.
Stacy Duckworth and Samuel were my great-great-great-grandparents. So she was actually a half-sister to my great-great-grandfather.
So let's recap. He literally stumbles across an extremely concealed grave in the middle of the woods. Fresh flowers are underneath despite the grave being from 1843. Then he discovers it's a long-lost relative and has to admit that this seems like it could be fate.
Well, we did find it somehow. I tell you, if you hadn't stepped on it, we wouldn't have.
It's almost as if the spirit of his ancestor was waiting to be found.